Hiya, hiya, hiya. So it's me again. And in the last video, I gave an in-depth guide on Legion, links, bossing mules, so on and so forth. So I thought it would be a perfect segue in this video to start giving guides on bossing, because you can't kill bosses if you don't know how to do them. So I'm going to be starting from CRA and moving onwards. So I'll start with Chaos Von Bon and move up the stack, because I personally think that Chaos Von Bon is the easiest out of the four, because a lot of his moves are telegraphed and fairly straightforward. Oof. Yeah, so we're gonna start with that. So if you guys didn't know how to unlock CRA, you're gonna need to start with the Root Abyss questline and then clear normal Root Abyss 5 times. But yeah, so once you do unlock it and you do clear normal Root Abyss 5 times, you can enter Chaos Root Abyss. You do have to be level 180 though to enter Chaos Root Abyss, but I highly suggest that you don't even enter Chaos Root Abyss alone until you're at least like level 205. All of the monsters in Chaos Root Abyss, I'm pretty sure, are level 190, so you will be getting the maximum damage bonus if you are at least level 200. Now, Chaos Von Bon, starting out, has 100 billion health. He's fairly straightforward. He does have a general mechanic where he spawns clocks on the map. He spawns white clocks and he spawns black clocks. If you make Von Bon stand in the black clocks, he will give you more time. I'm pretty sure it's like 6 to 8 seconds a tick. But if he stands in the white clocks, then he will take time away from you. There's only 10 minutes in this fight, and he will not start spawning clocks when he dips below 40% HP. So I'm just going to go along in the fight, and I'm just going to give you guys general tips on how to fight the boss, I would say. I'm not equipping anything right now. I am on my main, but I'm not equipping like literally anything at all, because if I did, the fight would be kind of unfair. So just a generic weapon, and that's literally it. Now, one thing to note, I'm probably going to mention this in all of my videos for bossing. When you have the time to do damage, stay on the floor. Staying on the floor not only gives you the most control, but it also gives you the most damage. Now, there are a lot of instances and classes where specific class mechanics force you to go into the air, and if that's the case, then that's fine. But I am a fairly straightforward class as a cannoneer. I only stand on the floor and press one button to do my damage. And then, sometimes I throw out Cannon of Mass Destruction and Rolling Rainbow. But, yes. Another thing I should probably note is confidence. You won't clear this boss if you don't give it a shot. So go in, test your damage, ask around, see if you do enough damage, go into practice mode. Because soon enough, in the early game, doing bosses will be the main source of your income. So keep that in mind, and let's get into it. So I will do Chaos Von Von. I shall throw up all of my buffs. And you can notice right now that my damage is not that great. I am doing 9 to 10 million damage lines. So, nothing too special. But yeah, usually you want to start a boss fight by popping all of your burst. So when you're just starting the game, this will mainly just consist of your 5th job skills. But because I'm level 270, I have a slew of bursts, right? I have a lot of abilities. I have Epic Adventure, which you do get before level 200. Maple World, Goddess, Blessing, Overdrive, Flag, so on and so forth. At 200, it's going to be a lot more straightforward. Just focus on getting, the mechanics down. So you can notice how in this fight compared to others, I started at 10 minutes instead of 20. For all of the other Chaos Root Abyss fights, you can start at 20 minutes. But for this fight, you start at 10. But honestly, you can manipulate it so that you're at 10 the entire time. Until you hit, 40% on his HP bar. Which is when the fight starts to get weird. So you have to click the portal to start the fight. And he starts out by only doing 2 moves. He throws out that bolt, which you can jump or duck. You can jump over it or duck under it. Either way. And he starts out with a basic swipe where he kind of just bonks you in the head and hits you for 70%. There's nothing that really has a threat of killing you in the beginning besides the bolt. But if you just take the time to duck it, then there's no real threat here. Just make sure not to greed for damage. Just play it pretty safe because you can manipulate this fight so that you can have pretty much unlimited time. So we're keeping it fairly straightforward here. See, like even if I do get hit, there's no real threat. In the next phase where he does drop below 75% HP, there is a threat by getting hit because he can stun you and then jump and one-shot you. But for right now, it's more of just... So I'm going to show what my burst looks like. So typically you'll see that because I'm a higher level, my burst will do a lot of damage because I have a lot of abilities going for me. But when I'm off my burst, I'm really weak because I have nothing to give me any form of damage. But yeah, so we've put him into his second phase. So now he's going to start jumping and using this like warp mechanic. So when you see his staff turn purple, he's going to do a warp, which basically resets you to the position in question. It's like a black silhouette of me. And typically when he's casting this ability, you want to stay on the floor so that when he does move you, you can duck under the bolt. Because if you put it in a situation where you put the silhouette in the air, it's going to be kind of hard to choose where you want to go, and then you'll just end up into the bolt. Luckily, I survived there, but there will be a lot of cases where that may not be the case. And just for reference, the bolt is a one-shot, so if you do get hit by the bolt, it is instant death. Same thing with the jump. The jump is on a roughly 15-second timer, so after you've seen him throw out a couple attacks, it's best to just stand around. You don't really need to try forcing any sort of damage. Like for right now, I can continue attacking because there's no real threat. But after a couple attacks come out, it's in my best interest to just stay standing around. See, he throws out another attack, now he jumps, right? So realistically, you can tell most of the time when he's going to jump or when he's going to do anything dangerous. So probably after this attack or one more attack, he's going to jump. Yeah. So a lot of the boss fights is getting the timing down because timing is very important. Because a lot of the mechanics that do one shot or do a lot of damage are under, specific timers, right? But notice how at the same time, I'm just trying to keep him in the black clocks. Trying to do simple stuff. But yeah, notice how because I got whacked by his wand there, I got stunned and then into a one-shot. So that's you have to be careful of the stun when you do enter the second phase because it can kill you. Not only that, if you stand far away, you can kind of manipulate a teleport so that it can just go straight to the orb in question. But you can tell, like, I dropped to 6 minutes and now I'm back up to 8. As long as you move him properly, like, there's no way that you should be running out of time. Right? And I could easily be weaving in hits here. Now, the only unlucky instance that you can really have in this fight is if he throws a teleport and jumps as you teleport to the floor. But you can avoid that situation because if you do throw out an iframe before the teleport actually comes out, then you won't be teleported. Now, if the silhouette is already there and you try to throw out an iframe, the iframe will do nothing for you. So just keep that in mind. Okay, seems like he wants to stand in that clock. So we're just gonna wait a bit until we get a little more time. But to be honest, I have no reason to be scared of not doing damage. Just get him to walk over. No! Okay, well. I never thought he would teleport to me. Unlucky. But yeah. His aggro isn't like 100% consistent, and like sometimes his teleports can be weird. So sometimes getting the perfect aggro or keeping him 100% in the bubble isn't always going to happen, but obviously just do your best. And if you're running out of time, then take the time to get your time back. Because if you're clearing this for the first time, especially if you're doing solo progression, then it's definitely worth to get as much time as you can get. Okay, there's actually no black clocks spawning. This is very sad. Usually they do spawn, you know, just kind of unlucky. There we go. Perfect. Now he should teleport. And now he should teleport. Ah, yes. So this is what I mean by the teleport and the aggro being inconsistent. Because clearly I'm like way out of range there. See, so because I'm out of range there, he TPs, right? But usually you don't want to be standing a screen's length away from him, because you want to make sure that you know whether he's jumping or not. Because you don't want to be getting hit by that jump and losing a stock for nothing, pretty much. So, yeah. We're getting decent clock spawn now. Like, usually the instance that we had not too long ago is kind of just unlucky. But if you do have him around the 40 HP percent mark, you can kind of just juggle him inside the clock and then farm your time before you start the next phase, which is roughly around 40%. I'll showcase it in just a second. Okay. There you go. We're on quite a good streak. So because I got decent time, I'll start the next phase. I'll throw out my full burst and all. So at around this point in health, maybe a little lower, he's going to start his next phase, in which he'll throw out a portal on the map. And you're going to have to enter that portal and do a certain amount of damage to Von Bon. So in this map, you get poisoned and you're blind. So you can eat 5 ticks of poison from full health before you need to potion up again. So just keep that in mind if you don't have auto potion and you don't want to be spamming potions, right? And when you're blind, just make sure that you're moving around in the zone until you see Von Bon. The reason why you want to be moving around is because he'll still attack you in that zone. And if he attacks you in that zone, he'll do 70% of your health while you're still getting poisoned for 20% of your health, and he'll lock you. The reason why getting locked is really bad is because you need to do a certain amount of damage. You need to take out Von Bon before that timer, hits 0, right? So you need to make sure that you're doing the damage that you need to do, right? So after you find him, just stay a decent distance away from him and just attack, right? Just slowly kite him out, right? You jump and attack at the same time if you can do that. Or if you're a mage, telecast, whatever the case is. But you can notice that once he spawns these portals, there's no clocks on the field anymore. So now it's just a race to the finish, right? So now it's just a matter of getting out as much damage as possible. And you can tell that this character's not doing a lot of damage. Like, I'm doing 8 to 10 million damage lines. In comparison to a lot of classes, early game, or, classes like Adele or Ho Young that are much stronger at this stage in the game, my damage isn't necessarily high. It's just that my burst is obviously really strong because I have abilities that I shouldn't have. So sometimes he'll enter the I guess we'll call it the ethereal state faster, and then sometimes he'll actually give you time to attack. So that's random, and where the portal shows up is random. So just keep that in mind when entering, the third phase. It's not always going to be consistent. So when you're ready for this fight, just make sure that you do, more than enough damage to clear. Or else your clear will be within the margin of error. So when he enters the last phase, it's roughly at around 10% HP. And he'll only use 2 attacks. He'll use a bolt, and he'll use this pushing ability. So when you run into his wings like that, or if he does teleport on top of you with his wings, he'll hit you for 50% of your HP and give you super knockback. And then he'll also start spawning random debris around the map. There's 3 colors. There's a green, blue, and purple. Purple one-shots you, so just be careful of purple. Blue does 50% of your health, so if you do get hit by blue, just make sure that it's not in conjunction with being pushed, or else you will die. And then the greens do 20% of your HP. So the green debris isn't really that much of a threat, but if you are a class with super knockback resistance, just be careful when you're attacking him. So for example, if you're an Aaron or a Shadower, attacking in his range while using your damaging abilities will actually give you consistent damage. Like, you will die very quickly. So just make sure that you're attacking him within a range where you cannot get hit. So this is more of like a practice makes perfect kind of thing. But yeah, as you can notice, I got pushed into purple debris and just instant death. So you need to be careful on where you're positioning. Just take note of where debris is falling on the map before taking a position, because you can only take one position before he shows up, right? And either you're safe or you're not safe. So just be careful of that. Using the Freedom of Spirit Link skill does help here. So if you are scared of dying in this fight, then using Spirit of Freedom would definitely help. But yeah, you can notice again, I got pushed into blue debris and I died, right? So once again, just be careful with your positioning. And obviously this won't always be within, your own control, because obviously RNG, but you can use iframes to sometimes get out of weird situations, right? So but yeah, there you go. That's it. Clearing Von Bon with literally just a weapon, right? 2K stat. Obviously, I do have good nodes and good stuff, so it starts to become a lot more in some situations. But yeah. Other tips for bossing that I suggest, if you go into your settings and graphics, you can turn your skill transparency down if you're having a hard time seeing the boss. So sliding this slider all the way to the left makes your abilities semi-transparent. And enemy silhouettes. You can also check this box, sorry. So when you check this box, when you attack an enemy, it'll highlight that enemy so you can see what moves are coming out. So obviously when he's waving his wand, he's throwing out the bolt, you duck under, right? Or when his wand glows purple, he's throwing out his teleport. So maybe you'll want to throw out an iframe when that happens that you don't get teleported. And you have no RNG in the fight whatsoever, right? But Von Bon is fairly straightforward, very, very telegraphed. A lot of his abilities are slow and, are simple abilities so that you can get used to the game, I would say. But the further you go, the more moves just come out of nowhere and you need to be prepared for them, right? So, yeah. That's it on my guide for Von Bon. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below, or optionally check out my stream at twitch.tv/acat3. I stream every day that I can at 6 p.m. Eastern. But yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Remember to like, comment, and sub, or I will literally delete your mesos faster than Star Forcing does. Thanks.